Hey there, writers. Today I'm going to talk to you about 5 harsh truths about the publishing industry. Why should you listen to me? I have been part of the publishing industry in some way or another for almost 2 decades now as an editor, both developmentally and copy edits, as a writer, as a proofreader, as a book coach, and as a creative writing instructor. And I know the publishing industry well, and I have seen all the changes that have gone on during that time. So here's my wisdom for you. So, the first truth that I would like to bring up is that covers sell books. And what I mean by this is that it is definitely true that we judge a book by its cover. Now, whether or not we should or not doesn't really matter. We do. So it's really important that when you are choosing or designing a cover for your book, that you make sure that in particular it is genre specific. So how do you do this? Well, what I would advise doing is looking at the best-selling books in your genre from kind of the last few months and see what their covers look like. Now, obviously, I'm not suggesting that you steal somebody else's cover, that you make yours exactly the same, but there will be certain kind of design concepts which will be used for particular genres, and there will be certain colors that are used and stuff like that. And it's really, really important that you get that right so that when people are looking for their next read in their favorite genre, they're scanning the bookshelves or they're looking through Amazon or whatever, they see the cover of your book and they know what it is and whether or not it is right for them. Harsh truth number 2 is that your book simply will not sell without marketing. It is not possible to have a best-selling book without anybody knowing about it. You're not going to sell 1 million copies. Reese Witherspoon is not going to be able to find your book and get it into her book club, and then you're not going to end up having a Hollywood blockbuster movie made of your book unless you market it correctly and people actually know what it's about and know where that they can buy it. Well, actually, that they even know that it exists in the first place. So what I think is really, really important as an author is that you learn how to market your books. I appreciate that for most of us, this definitely doesn't come anywhere near the top of what we want to be doing. We want to be writing, but marketing is an important part of the book business. So it is important that you take time to learn the basics and learn how to market your book. And this is true if you are traditionally published as well as if you are self-published, because although your publisher will definitely help you with marketing, you are still expected to do a certain amount of book marketing yourself. Harsh truth number 3 is that readers have certain expectations for books in their favorite genres. And if you don't fulfill these expectations, readers are going to be disappointed. Not only will this lead to bad reviews, but they also won't be recommending your book, so you won't get those wonderful word of mouth sales. So the most obvious example I can think of this is that romance books have to have a happy ending, or at least a happy for now ending. And if you don't do that, then romance readers will be very, very unhappy, and you really don't want to anger that crowd, to be honest. Harsh truth number 4 is that large publishers know what the bestsellers are going to be next year, a long time before those books are even released. They know what they're looking for in terms of what genres and what kind of types of authors they want to write their books for next year, and they will have an allocation of money for each of their books. They will put a lot more money behind certain books. Those are the books that are generally going to be topping the New York Times bestseller list. Honestly, it's sad, it really is, that the publishing industry is run like this, but it's life. There's not much we can do about it. And one way of looking at it is that there are plenty of authors who make a very good living and their books never end up at the top of the New York Times bestseller list. They may not really end up as Amazon bestsellers, but they sell consistently and they write plenty of books, and it all adds up and they end up actually making a very good income. So it's definitely not necessary to hit the top of those bestseller lists in order to make money as an author. And finally, my final harsh truth is that while I think it's really important to write what you want to and what you are drawn to, you must be aware that if you write certain books, if you write certain genres, then they are not going to sell as well as books in other genres. There are different genres which are hugely popular at different times. At the moment, romantasy is doing hugely well, with books like Fourth Wing just selling so many copies and doing fantastically and topping the charts. So some authors will write romantasy purely because they know that there is a large market for that. If you choose to write genres or subgenres or particular niches which are not as popular, then you just do not have as large a readership that are going to be interested in your book. This is especially true if you decide to mix up genres a bit too much. So if you have a cozy sci-fi, horror, fantasy romance, for example, you're not going to have as many readers interested in reading that as you would some of other genres that are more straightforward. Not least because it's going to be much harder to market a book like that, because how do you market it? It's in so many genres. How do you choose where you're going to put it on Amazon in terms of choosing the genres for it for that? You're just making life a lot harder for yourself. So I repeat, write whatever you want. If you feel drawn to write a certain story, then it's really, really important that you write that, but you also need to be aware that certain genres are going to sell a lot better than others and are going to be a lot easier to market than others as well. If you are going more niche, then you are going to have to find a way to find your readers. Having said that, you might be able to build up a really, really loyal readership, and those people will talk about your books. They will buy every single book that you write, and that can be absolutely fantastic as an author. So I'm definitely not saying that you should absolutely just write those genres which sell a lot, like thrillers and romance. Write whatever you like, just be aware of how large your readership is going to be. Well, I really, really hope that this video has been useful to you and that you've enjoyed it. Next week, I am going to be filming my 5 harsh truths about writing. So make sure that you're subscribed if you're not already, so that you don't miss out on that video. And I will catch you in the next one.